Hello guys, I'm Balonga and I'm on my book journey, and for now I came here to proceed my discussion of the book Concise Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. Actually I read it completely, but to make this video I tried to reread it for the second time, and it's better to make the separate videos because it has so many details and so many the advices that we can implement in our daily life, and that's why today we will also discuss about 3 chapters. And first one is that the law of compulsiveness, and it's all about repeated action and also our addictions. And yeah, and you know what, like if we were kind of the technologies, the innovations, the people with the best and strong characters are just like the latest inventions, like because it is said that the people with the good characters and strong characters are as rare as gold, and no matter how the person is so like educated and they look good and any other qualities besides characters, they would cost a lot for the company or in the business, because if they don't have the good and strong characters. And what are we saying by the strong and good characters is that the people with that quality is more likely to be open to the new ideas and rigorously persistent, and they take criticisms as the advice and they implement in their life, and they learn from their experiences, and also their strengths emanate from their personal security and self-worth. And meanwhile, in contrast, the people with the weak character is like the opposite. They are overwhelming, hard to rely upon, and they might be slippery and evasive, and they are likely to be in their defensive mood, and they cannot take any advices from anybody. And yeah, and let's talk about character. Character is derived from like 2 main streams. The first stream is that it comes from our early years, and the second one is that it comes from our daily habits. And yeah, and if we observe any like bad qualities in our character, we can first and foremost we have to just observe it, and we will, if you would like to improve it, we can make it and convert it to the good quality. Like for example, I am a little nervous and overthinker, but I can convert this quality, like bad quality, into the analytical like skills, and I can even implement it in my future careers, and they can bring me more than just a negative emotion. And to do that, I also have to pay attention to the little details about it. For example, instead of worrying, instead of exaggerating things, I can use this power and energy to making the solution. And yeah, and it's so interesting that there were some kinds of the toxic people, and I was so like interested in that, because in these days people are using this word a lot in their life. And okay, let's talk about this. First toxic type is that the hyper perfectionists, like they are likely to oversee the things and details, and it's not because they are having the high standards, it seems more like they are trying to control us, like they are trying to get the power from that. But it's still toxic. And also in this book, these bad qualities can come from their childhoods and childhood backgrounds. And here, this hyper-perfectionist can come from the family that has some dependency issues. Yeah. And secondly, there is the relentless rebel types. That is, like, they deflate everyone, and their compulsion to feel superior. And like, okay, how can we just notice people is that when you say something to make that person improve, like advice, like personal advice or feedback, they are likely to defend themselves, and it seems like they locked themselves in their adolescence forever. Maybe it is the result of the family, that there were so much mistrust and like criticized too much, and yeah. And the third toxic type is personalizer, and they take everything so inwardly, and they are mostly so sensitive, and they just seems like they are a victim of life. And if you are with that person, you might feel like you are guilty for something, but you don't know for which. And yeah, that's so toxic. And fourth one is drama magnet, and they make up a lot of stories, and they try to attract a lot of attention from the outside world. And this might be the result of the loneliness, and it's just their way to attract more attention, to get some attention. Yeah. And fifth type is that the big talker. They tell a lot, they brag a lot, but what they are doing and their performances are not really adequate to what they say about themselves. And in the end, they tend to blame you or blame others for the single misdeed and misfortune. So it would be so toxic. Maybe the background can be that they might come from the family who is so inconsistent for the job, and also the boy or the girl was blamed for the single misdeed, and that might cause this behavior. Yeah, the sixth one is that the sexualizer. What is about this is like they tend to take every relationship into kind of sexual, because maybe unfortunately it is the the consequence of the fact that they been abused. Yeah, but I know that I cannot say, and I cannot connect their like behavior into their past, but it just helps me to think that maybe we don't know about some people's past, so at least we might feel themselves, like at least I can just understand them. Yeah, and we might be one of these types, so we just can analyze it on ourselves. And the seventh type is that the pampered prince and princess. They are likely to act like a baby when they're not getting what they want. And okay, how to know when you're dealing with such types is that maybe you feel guilty for not helping them when you're with them. So it's also one toxic type. Yeah, and the 8th one is that the pleaser. The pleaser, the people always, thank you. People always try to be nice, but it's not because of they are actually nice, it's just because of their defensive mechanism, and they tend to just act nice, just avoiding any bad traumatized outcomes. And it is also might be from the strict family. And yeah, behind the smiles and flattery there might be a great deal of resentment. And the 9th type is the deceiver. They tries to do everything in front of you, and instead they do your jobs and they try to give you a lot, but maybe that means that is the behavior that tries to control you. Maybe probably they come from also background they've been the caregiver from the beginning, and that's why be self-reliant as possible. And the 10th type is that the easy moralizer. They tend to oppose the specific kind of groups, but actually they are just like them. They are the people they hate in real life. And I think it just hurts me a lot of people, and even me, but it's also toxic. It's also said to be toxic. And for each weakness there is corresponding strength, so it's okay to have one of them. The law of covetous, in other words, greed. We will talk about our greed, and also we will talk about how to be desirable among others. And there is one syndrome that is more connected to this concept, which is the grass is greener on the other side. There is exactly it is exactly the same to grass, grasses, the yard of grasses. It just seems like the other one's grass is more greener. You understand? And it says that the more the distant and the more unattainable the object or the person is, he or she or it might be more desirable for us. And that's why we can play by our presence and absence to play a little mystery in other people if you're willing with that desirability. And there are some 3 qualities about the grass is greener syndrome, and the first one is induction. There it says that something positive generates the contrasting negative image. Even though we have the best thing that we wanted from the young age, maybe we know that we have good qualities maybe, but you don't just be grateful for that, and it feels like it's not so good enough. And yeah, that is the result of the syndrome, and we desire the something we don't want more often. And the second one is that the complacency, that is more like a negative bias. there we tend to pay attention to the negative statement more than the positive statement, because we are like naturally so negative people. We pay attention to the most negative things, and yeah, and we always complain and grieve, and we also like that sensation more than the good emotions. And the third one is that we just sense the reality and the imagination the same in our brain. We don't tell apart, we don't separate this two different things. Like it just comes to our mind as the past experience, but the one is reality and one didn't happen, it's just imagination, and that is also the cause of this syndrome, I think. But this kind of thing is in everybody, and yeah, but we can just balance it. And there are some strategies for stimulating the desire. One is, I told you that we can just make little mystery around people, and we just value ourselves and heighten our values, and your presence must have a touch of coldness to it, and as if you feel like you could do anything without others. And your opinion, tastes, and values are never too obvious to people. And also, they're the second strategy is to create a rivalries of desire. For example, you tell the third parties and other people that good things, good qualities about yourself, and maybe they talk and do a little rumor about you, good or bad, no matter how is that, it can create a little popularity around you. And also, if you just show off your gifts or the favor of some others, you might grant a lot of attention. And if you think really need this attention. And the last one is that use the induction method. Be untouchable and be mysterious. And also in our bustling society, there are so many trends, and we feel like we also want such things, and maybe we will be happy with that. But in reality, we don't be so grateful for what we have, and also the trends cannot define you, because you're a different person and your value might be different. So to save so much time of your lifespan, just consider to take or pursue the thing you really want, the thing you prioritize at the top. So please do not be flown into another stream, that's called maybe trend. And also by the greed, we might looking for someone as a partner, the best, and the best, but there is no one with such greatness. So we have no other choice than to accept other people with their weaknesses, and accept the other sensations and other even innovations as it is, and that way we can just satisfy with it. Yeah, and if we really think very highly of a person, we should conceal it from him like a crime. That's just a little trick. Yeah. And the sixth, very last law that I'm going to discuss in the series is the law of short-sightedness. Because why are some people so rich and why are some people so achieved? Is that they all have the long sight. They just plan everything by the years, 10 of years, maybe the 5 years in the long period. But for the most people, we just take care about our month, our week, and yeah, that way we are just postponing ourselves from our achievements. And yeah, and there are 4 signs of short-sightedness. One is unintended consequences, like caused by laziness and simpleness. Okay, for example, for the one exam, maybe we cannot get what we expected, what we really want to get. It's just because of the feeling. If you're feeling so worried about that, it's maybe because that you didn't do your best, you didn't study so well. So try not to be so lazy and try not to follow the simple trend for that. And the second one is that the tactical hell. That is to pro your ego, to don't instead like you just in your defensive mood and try to pro yourself in anything, but even though it is not aligned into your fundamental goals and the purposes. So pay attention to this, and you can even say no, and you can even say compromise, and you do not have to pro yourself to others. That way you can save so much energy and so much time of yourself. And the third one is the ticker tape fever. That is exactly the trends. You follow trend and you just misread your long-term vision, like the larger pictures. You just follow the most of people, and that's not interesting, right? And the fourth one is that the lost in trivia. That is, you are lost in so much information, and even though it seems everything is equally important, what you need is a mental filtering system based on a scale of priorities and your long-term goals. So, not every information is needed to be acquired, and just know something that you have to know. Thank you so much for watching my video. See you for the next videos. Bye.